Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's layout, we are going to start a new Heidi Swap insert for this school year. If you recall, I finished this insert at the end of the school year. This was her first pre-K at 3 years old for this one, and now she's doing pre-K at 4 years old. And so these are all the stories that held last year's memories, and I loved this project. So it's always like going to be a little snippet of her and what she's into and her hobbies and her school photos and just things that are just specific to her only. So I have another insert ready to go, and I do want to actually recreate this quite easily. I do want to have the window. I'm going to have another clustering of flowers, and I do have these letters. These are the L Studio die cuts for the Jane Alpha that I will do, and then stamp out the year as I did here as well. So in essence, once they're always together, you know, she'll have pre-K 3, 4, etc., etc. if I can continue this in these notebooks, or maybe they'll take a different form for her kindergarten year. But in essence, this is what I want to recreate. So I do have her photo that we took on the first day of school, so very similar, if you see, to here. So this is her first day of school moment too. And so I just wanted a full page photo this time, so I printed it as an 8x10, and I just cut down like a little, I think it was like 1 inch and then a 1/2 inch over here. And then what I already have envisioned is my journaling going here on clear sticker paper. That way it won't interfere with the photo, and just leaving it as such. And I'm going to cut out the window with you, and then we'll do the next spread to kind of, I always say, like, did I do it here too? I almost want to see if I did. Yeah, kind of like I did it here kind of too. Like a wish for the school year, you know, like what I hope for her, and see if anything changes, or if things stay the same. You know, and yeah, because things change because we've moved now, so this is not her room anymore, so I can do something else with her room. She's swimming completely right now. That was a story here. So really the story here, I think too, she's learning to ride her bike, her little two-wheeler with the safety wheels, and so she's almost ready for the safety wheels to come off. So that'll be a nice additional story. And look, we're not in COVID anymore. Well, I mean, we are in COVID, but they don't have to wear the mask anymore, so this story changes. So it's good to see those things in which I want to do the insert again. So I'll bring you along. We're gonna set this up. You'll see me put down the journaling. We'll cut out the cover window and prep the cover, and we'll start off on the first spread here together. So let's get started. So let's get started with doing the window feature of this insert. Now, I didn't truly measure anything. It was more of just going for it, knowing that it would be at least 1 inch down, and here I am just kind of fingering where I want the window to end. And once I had the 2 striations with the X-Acto knife, I was able just to connect them, and I love the way it turned out. Maybe a little bit too big, but I'm making it work. So my only tip too, when you have a big photo like this, because I did technically cut it to size, once I placed it, it was slightly askew, which I can see it, but doesn't bother me. So from now on, whenever I have full page inserts, I'm going to make it slightly bigger than the page itself. That way I can trim it down. So then I'm looking for, here's the page protector to cut it down. But then I had this packaging from a lawn flag that had a pretty decent, thick weighted packaging. So I decided to use this instead. So I just kind of cut it open, cut it into a piece that would fit the window and have it protected. Now, before I did that though, I remembered from last year that I needed to decide the pattern paper that's going to go on the inside here, and remembered to cut out the frame. Last year I had already attached the window, and it nearly messed up the notebook because I couldn't truly get into the areas where the window was going to be, and it was a little bit of a pain last year. So I learned from my mistakes. So here's now me putting it down, but I already have my marks on this paper as to where the cut needs to be in order to mimic the window on the front. This pattern paper was from my stash. I'm not sure, I should have looked at it before I did it, but it worked out perfectly because it matches her dress. Okay, so let's do the opposite side. So I have everything kind of prepped and ready. I just wanted to do that off camera before we continued, but So let's show you what it already looks like here. So we have, and don't get me wrong, it is not perfect. I kind of got a little wonky there, but no one will see it. And I kind of got a little wonky here, and I thought I would cut it, but you will always see it because the rest of the notebook is there. So, you know, maybe I'll add something there, but it doesn't really bother me. And it's so subtle. Everyone will probably think I'm like delirious for like complaining about that, but it does look great. And I love how this paper kind of complements this one. So we're rolling with it, and with the extra paper, I'm going to use it on the next side because it was just, you know, you take multiple photos. So I just made 3x4 cards. I cut these down, and they'll be the backing for the story, at least because it's all in the same outfit is my thinking. So on Avery clear sticker paper, I have done my journaling, which I'm going to put here. That way the photo will still shine through. It's kind of a hack so that you don't have to worry about doing Photoshop and adding text, because I don't use Photoshop or Lightroom. And I do use the app Moldiv. You know that I love that one because it doesn't leave a watermark on my photos. But even with Moldiv, for this much journaling, it probably would have had to have been done in like 2 text boxes. And it is so hard to always on your phone get it to be the same font size, because it doesn't work like by numbers and such. So get yourself, and I'll leave it linked down below, matte clear sticker paper and put it through your printer, and that way it'll get the same effect. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So once I peel off the back, and sometimes it is a pain if it's not on one of the score marks to peel it off, but it packs a punch. Oh, it did have the score line. So yeah, I could have. And so it's just a good way, like I said, to get journaling on your photos without having to use Photoshop and Lightroom and all that jazz. So I'm loving that I've figured this out, because when it comes to December daily, I don't have to worry about that either, because I can just make it on this clear sticker paper. And let me show you. So then once you rub it in, because it can be a little cloudy, kind of like on vellum, which is an okay look too, because I use vellum a lot. You know, it's not perfect, like seamless, because you can kind of see where the box is, but for having your journaling on a photo from far away when I take a picture of it, that looks pretty darn good. So I knew once I did the window, I was going to run into it, because I had the intention of having, I knew I was going to do journaling there, but once I did the window I knew that it was going to shine through. So on my last album, because I wanted them to kind of match, I had just a cluster like here in the corner. And these I did in that first year video, and I made so much. I made a whole 12x12 of embossing these flowers. These are from Altenew, and I cut them all out like while watching TV. So I have, these are probably like the last of them. So I knew I just like, it was going to be just here, but because I see all that journaling, I'm going to just have like a cascade of them down the side, and that way it covers up the journaling, and that will be just as beautiful. What I also want to match is last year I did the pre-K on the cover, and she technically still is in pre-K. So last year, at least in Florida, you apply for a lottery seat, and it's just called pre-K 3 because you're 3, because you always have that odd birthday where you'll turn the year you need to be right after school starts. So she's a November baby. So VPK just stands for voluntary pre-K. So next year she definitely will be in kindergarten. They just call it this year. It could just be pre-K 4, but I decided to make them delineated, even though I did put the year, that I know everyone calls it pre-K, VPK, and that'll be there. And so then I'll put the year on the bottom. So let's work on this part. I'll put you on fast forward. So let's cluster these flowers down the side of this notebook insert. So I definitely was just aware of putting not like too orange or two corals too close together, and breaking it up with some of the yellow that I also had from all these cutouts. This is just a luscious way to use your stamps in a multiple ways to make your own die cuts. This was effective. I feel like I want to do this again for another project, and maybe have a batch that are like blues and purples together, and then have those on my desk for projects to always kind of plunk on and use as gorgeous embellishments. I do love Altenew. I need to actually pick up a few more stamps. If you ever need a good floral stamp, I highly recommend Altenew. And the ones also that are killing it lately is Pink Fresh Studio. They have some gorgeous florals. Loving them. So I went ahead and adhered using Tombow Mono liquid glue. For the VPK, those were cut out from L Studio. And then I cut 3x4 cards down from that pattern paper I used in the cover. And the opposite side was this coral gingham. And I once again did my journaling on the clear matte sticker paper. That way you can read my journaling but see the pattern paper through. I have just been in love with having the clear sticker paper lately in my projects. These embellishments are from the Bungalow Lane collection from Paige Evans that have been in my stash, and I slightly cut my photos down so that there was a border to see that great paper behind it. She started off the day with the bluey dress, but at the end of this photo shoot, she wanted to change into a tank top and shorts. It was just too hot here in Florida for the first day of school. But stay tuned for more stories in this insert. I love this project. All right, that will wrap up the start of this album. I love the way these all turned out. These are all new. I knew I'd mentioned that before. If I remember, I will put a link down below. So we have that started. Remember, I used some packaging, which is always a good way, so I didn't have to cut up a page protector, and it does the job just as nicely to protect that front photo. You saw I put some flowers in the back to hide that white cardstock from the back, and I had to readjust it because I just didn't want to see white from this side was what happened there. And then the journaling here for a first day of school photo. And then here is the birthday wish with a few extra, I believe, this paper, I don't remember where it's from, but these are Paige Evans Bungalow embellishments, and they worked perfectly with that paper. So I'm not sure if that was a Paige Evans paper too. It might have been for the colors to work out so good. So the colors work great. Her dress being bluey was perfect with the coral. And then my journaling here is just meeting like the teacher, the school year wish that she enjoys school again, just because last year towards the second half was just not enjoyable for her. I just think she wasn't challenged and she found the program quite boring. We're a week into school and she's eager to go. So that is like my school wish that she does and continues. And I also put in there, because she's still a picky eater, that she is wanting to try the school lunches and have more variety of food in her diet because she's so picky still. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Hit the bell notification next to the subscribe button and it'll alert you whenever I post. I do label my videos quite obviously, so that if it's something that interests you, like if I name this my school year insert, you will always take a look, and that way you can enjoy my content I provide for you. Please give this video also a thumbs up, and until next time, everyone, bye!